Lithuania's independence was restored 10 years ago. Along with it came the hardship of the transition to the market economy, which in the long run resulted in unemployment and economic crisis. The situation was exacerbated by deteriorating economic conditions. These conditions brought many people to seek a better standard of living elsewhere. As a result, quite a number of young women and girls were lured into the dehumanizing modern-day slavery of prostitution.
It's a nightmare. It's a devil of a nightmare. I can't find the right words for it. Up till now, I hadn't realized how it all happened.
Unemployment in Lithuania is on the increase, which has the direct effect on the recruitment of many young women into sex work abroad. I doubt very much that we'll be able to stop this in the near future. Anyway, it's organized crime that calls the shots. It's a common practice that traffickers have far-reaching connections abroad, which enable them to continue their criminal activities unimpeded. Many young women are being taken to Germany, where traffickers have vast contacts with the local criminal element. But about 3 years ago, women were often conned into working as prostitutes in Israel. Most of them, innocently or without fully understanding the reality of the situation, are drawn into criminally driven dependency. Young women are misled by the promises of employment as babysitters or domestic workers. They're taken to secret places and held as prisoners in brothels.
I'm an orphan. It happened after I graduated from school. I wanted smart clothes and something more. It was then that the offer came of employment in Germany. Well, I agreed. 2 guys came to have a look at me. They seemed to be pleased with what they saw. They told me I would have to go to Kaunas to pick up my visa. They promised everything would be fine after that. So I said, okay, I would go.
Many girls leave the country encouraged by their acquaintances or through answering advertisements offering them jobs abroad. Most of them are drawn by the promise of illegal employment. But how do they raise the money to travel abroad? The very common practice is an acquaintance of a girlfriend offers his help. That's how a girl gets the money which she has to work off later. Finally, the girl arrives in the chosen country, her passport's confiscated, and she's forced to stay in a brothel without any hope of recovering her passport or money or anything else.
You mean it's all a con?
Well, you could certainly say so. They took me somewhere. I had no idea where, just took me somewhere. From what I know, it was Tel Aviv. They called that place Makon. It's the Jewish word for brothel. A man came up to me in the evening and told me I had to have sex with some men. I refused to begin with. Then he hit me, and I had to obey. What else could I do? They kept me locked in like a prisoner. I wasn't allowed to make phone calls either. Later, they told me they'd paid $10,000 for me, which I would have to work off. I insisted that I knew nothing about the money or how I was supposed to work it off. They said that I would have to pay them back by having sex with clients. They argued that other girls did this, without asking too many questions. It seemed life had lost all sense to me. It was slavery, and we lived like slaves. At times we had sex with 8 or even 12 men a day. Nobody cared about us, no matter how exhausted or tired we were. We couldn't refuse. They paid us only 50 shekels a day, nothing extra. What's more, they made deductions for being rude to clients. That's where I was concerned. They treated me like an animal, not a human being. I hated it all, but they threatened to sell me to some other traffickers, who could easily have me killed if I wasn't obedient. They said I should be happy to work for them, but they treated me inhumanely. I cried day and night, with my face buried in a pillow. I've become a chain smoker. Also, I became addicted to tranquilizers. I was lost. Nobody could help me.
The girls working abroad are deprived of all their civil rights. Illegal immigrants are almost slaves. But when the girls return, the situation changes again. In theory, there's groundbreaking legislation that states that traffickers can be sued for damages, both materially and morally, caused to the victims of sexual abuse. But in practice, this is not done because of lack of money. It's only possible to bring charges against the actual person who's involved in trafficking. Until now, none of the traffickers have been prosecuted.
As the act of trafficking is regarded in this way in Lithuania, the girls are still reluctant to confide in legal institutions or the police. They are much too scared for that. That's because they are absolutely intimidated by those who control this business in Lithuania. Therefore, it is practically impossible to bring charges against such a person. I think that explains a lot.
The girls are simply scared. They can't fight against this violence.
In Lithuania, we don't have governmental integration programs to help the victims of trafficking. At present, we're the only non-governmental institution of its kind that supports the victims of sexual abuse. We exist only because similar institutions abroad help us financially. The situation's desperate. We don't know how many young women are being smuggled abroad from Lithuania, and we don't know what becomes of them later.
At present, we have no knowledge of how many young women are being trafficked abroad or what becomes of them. The majority are taken to Germany, Holland, England, Spain and Israel. According to the Ministry of the Interior, over 200 young women every year are being returned to Lithuania from foreign countries. Most of them come back in a very bad way, victims of trafficking. Regrettably, professional aid for the victims of sexual exploitation is still lacking in social policy.